All right, welcome back. More than 50 people have been killed and thousands rendered homeless in recent attacks on several communities in the Bokos local government area of Plateau State, north central Nigeria. The state governor, Caleb Mothang, has engaged stakeholders of the state, including traditional rulers and security, in a bid to finding lasting peace. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Kaidi Egbetokun, has ordered the immediate deployment of police tactical assets to the state in response to the recent attacks and killings in the local government. But what could have given rise to the resurgence of these killings? Joining me now to speak on this very sad incident is a legal practitioner and national president, Birom Youth Mothers Association, Solomon Daliop. Good evening, Mr. Daliop. Welcome to Politics Tonight. Thank you for joining us. Right. Can you hear me, Mr. Daliop? All right, please unmute your mic, Mr. Daliop.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so first let me commiserate to the state on this horrific killings on the Plateau. I mean, it's sad, it's worrisome and unpalatable to see that innocent people continue to lose their lives for no reason. It's sad to see that killings on the Plateau have now become a norm, and the north central region is now clearly an unstable region. But for Plateau State, some say Plateau killings not a farmer-headed clash, but genocide by terrorists. But the state government blames killings on land grabbers. There was an attack on the 28th of March, April 2nd. There was another attack. What exactly is the true situation of things on the Plateau? Who are these people?
Well, the situation on the Plateau is very pathetic and calls for drastic measures to be taken. And of course, based on the available information and records we have, the people or group responsible for this are no other than Fulani militants who came overnight in the first place and attacked mourners on the 27th of the day of March 2025. As if that wasn't enough, they came on the broad daylight on the 2nd of April. That was last Wednesday, and unleashed terror attack on innocent people, simply because there were some arrests effected on the people that have been fingered on the attack on mourners. And so the kinsmen of the attackers felt that, since such person have been arrested, they will not take that, and that was the reason why they plan another terror attack, which claim a lot of lives. Like in Hurti village alone, we have a record of over 40 people killed, including women and children. So of course, this is a dastardly act that was carried out by none other than Fulani militants, some of whom have been identified. And then, of course, others are very alien, to the native inhabitants of that general area.
All right, but so many questions have been asked, most of them unanswered. But ultimately, for how long shall this continue? Is it possible that there is a terrorist enclave within these communities that perhaps the state government isn't aware of or difficult to locate? As someone who's on the ground, can you categorically say these are not our people?
Well, part of the attackers, as I've rightly said, are people that were hired from within and outside the country. And then some are people, the militants who have been posted by the native community.
So Daliop, are you there?
Hello.
So Daliop.
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead. I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes. I said we cannot categorically say that the attackers are aliens, and then of course they are not known. Some of them are known, some are not known. But of course, what is actually informing this attack and the persistency of it within that general area and the plateau villages and communities as a whole is, of course, as a result of quest for land grabbing. And then, of course, what is actually informing the quest for land grabbing is because of the uh, mineral resources that Plateau State is endowed with. And of course, we can see that just like it happens in other places, like in Zamfara, where they are mining gold. So anyway that there are solid mineral resources, these are the places that have become the target of these bandits and other terrorist elements. And then, of course, Plateau State cannot be an exception. So these are some of the factors that are informing, this attack on
So to what extent would you say, absolutely, so to what extent would you say illegal mining may have contributed to this wanton killings on the plateau?
Well, we wouldn't want to say illegal mining, but of course it is because, the attackers believe that they cannot have access to those lands until when they have displaced the native inhabitants. And that is the reason why you see on the plateau, we have a record of not less than 151 villages that have been overrun and taken over by the bandits and are currently in occupation of same. And we've cried out aloud so many times that, of course, drastic measures need to be taken, and then government need to come in to ensure the resettlement of these people that have been sacked from their ancestral homestead. Not only resettlement of these people, because you cannot resettle them without dislodging these bad elements that have infiltrated and have invaded these villages and communities and are comfortably, occupying them. Not only that, of course, taking advantage of the quantum of mineral resources that are believed to have been found in those, locations.
And of course, there are some who believe that Plateau crises are not communal crises. They say there is no community on the Plateau fighting another community. And I've also heard Governor Mothering repeatedly say pastoral cattle rearing is not beneficial to anyone again. I'm wondering how you react to this, not forgetting that establishment of the livestock ministry was to curb these in-season clashes between herders and farmers.
Well, people that are projecting the Plateau crisis to be herders farmers clash unfortunately are rather mischief makers. They don't want government, they don't want the public to be appropriately informed with the true picture of what is happening, so that they will act it will kind of excuse the perpetrators of this dastardly act that it is a herders farmers clash. Because over time, and based on our own experiences on the plateau and how we've been keenly following up on the incidences of attacks on the plateau, there is nothing like herders farmers clash. If it is herders farmers clash, why killing little children? Why killing women? Why killing people who have not, taken arms, even for their self-defense? And then, of course, why killing innocent people as a result of arrest that was meted out by security personnel over killing of the same individuals? If it were a herders farmers clash, would have learned a clash over what? Clash over land or clash over livestock? Clash over what? There is no any subject that has brought two parties that are conflicting about. No, this is purely genocide. And they've been doing it and they are bragging. And then imagine that Mietiala or coalition of Fulani coming to say that a particular security commander, particularly the Sector 5 commander of Bokos, that he should be removed as a condition for peace to reign. And then they are not talking about the lives of people they came or their kinsmen came and killed. They are not talking about justice. They are rather talking about the removal of the sector commander who has stood his ground, who refused to go, yes, who has not given them, the level playing ground for them to carry out the genocide without any intervention of government. And that is why they could go on air and call for the removal of that officer. As far as we are concerned, we are for justice. We are not saying that anybody should be treated unfairly or unjustly by whatever consideration. But all we are saying that whoever has committed a crime, whoever has committed genocide, he should be subjected to the wrath of the law. That is what we are calling out for. And so whatever people will be saying that the incident on the Plateau or the situation on the Plateau is has political coloration, it is a header farmers clash, that one is mischievous. As far as we are concerned, is purely a genocide. And this is not the first time that such incidents have happened.
Absolutely.
Remember 2017, when the then president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, General Muhammadu Buhari, the day he visited Plateau, the same area in Dafo of Bokos local government area was invaded and brought daylight, and people were massacred in their number. And we were expecting that there's going to be drastic measures because of the presence of the number one citizen of the country. But nothing happened. It was rather, a political gimmick that was played out. And of course, we have confidence in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is why we are expressing this.
Absolutely.
And calling on him to rise up to the occasion so that Plateau State will witness peace. Not only Plateau, Nigeria as a whole. Because once Plateau is at peace, by implication, Nigeria is at peace.
And that's you speaking directly to the federal government. But talking about the efforts of the state government in this regard, Operation Rainbow, duly licensed by the federal government, and this has been on ground since 2010, but the governor had promised to rejuvenate the security network. Has there really been any changes? Would you say these local security outfit is well equipped to cater to the security needs of the people of Plateau? Would you say there needs to be a lot to be done with the outfit?
Of course, the governor is trying, making his own efforts. But of course, Operation Rainbow alone, being a state security outfit, cannot be said to be adequately equipped to contain the situation on ground. Of course, we have on ground military and other paramilitary agencies that are working in hand. And then, of course, if despite the presence of this individual, this security outfit, the attackers could gather themselves and, overrun villages and communities. It calls for a synergy, a joint effort. And then, of course, federal security being manned not by the state government, it is a lacuna. And so, of course, we are calling that state government should be, constitutionally empowered to give directive to the federal security agents that are on ground, so that they can contain the situation without necessarily waiting for order from above. Even though in this recent happening, we've not had any case where there was late response of the security. Okay. Even despite the fact that the terrain, the road to that general area was very, very bad, but the security were able to rapidly respond. Otherwise,
but also,
the situation would have been
the role of traditional institutions, religious leaders, community elders, the youth, people like you, cannot be overemphasized in maintaining peace and security of any community. Local saboteurs, I heard the governor insinuating that when the security personnel arrest some suspects, they end up being released after arrest. They end up being released back into the society. As someone who's on the ground, is this true?
It is actually true, because this is not the first time it has been. And of course, information and circulation, from reliable sources, has it that, some high-profile, individuals have picked interest and are pushing for the release of these suspects that have been arrested. And of course, this is not the first time we've witnessed this on the Plateau. Previously, whenever suspects are arrested, you will only hear an order from above that such suspects be transferred to Abuja. And from Abuja, after 2 weeks, you see them coming back. And they will begin to brag that, after all, we were arrested and then we are back. And then they will become more deadly than the way more than what they were before the arrest. It has happened on several occasions. And of course, Plateau State have always raised this concern.
So as
and we are praying that this time around, it will not.
As someone who is not from Plateau, Mr. Diallo, I think this goes beyond prayer. It's sad when I hear the governor say there are always vested interests in the form of human beings who ensure these suspects are back in the society. As a youth leader, does this bother you that the governor restricts himself from mentioning names? Don't you think this is the governor covering up atrocities and not manning up to his role as chief executive officer of the state? Especially because we continue to lose lives in hundreds every time this happens. Mr. Daliop, did you get that?
Sorry, I didn't get you. There was a network interruption.
Did you get that question? I said this goes beyond prayers.
Yeah.
You're saying we need, at this point, we need to pray, but I'm saying this goes beyond prayer. I'm worried. I'm not from Plateau, but I'm also very worried. Also worried when I heard the governor say there are always vested interests in the forms of human beings who ensure these suspects are back in the society. As a youth leader, does this bother you that the governor restricts himself from mentioning names? Don't you think this is the governor covering up atrocities and not manning up to his role as chief executive officer of the state, chief security officer of the state, pardon me, especially because we continue to lose lives in hundreds every time this happens?
Well, we must understand and appreciate that, you know, the governor made that statement based on the first information he received. I believe so. And of course, the subsequent information available to us and to the security agents is that the perpetrators of this act of terrorism are known. Some of them are known. Names have been given, and more names are still coming, with even phone numbers. That is why we are calling that government should rise up to the occasion.
Do you have the names of these people, Mr. Daliop?
There are names.
Do you have them?
Names.
Do you have these names?
On the screen. It's not something I will begin to disclose it on the screen, but there are names. You know, people who have survived this attack have named individuals, have named the suspected Fulani bandits that participated in this, because they have hosted them over time. The native communities have hosted this, you know, Fulani bandits over time, without knowing that one day they will turn to become terror to them. And that is why people are calling, people are naming. And of course, we must also understand that security wouldn't have just embarked on indiscriminate arrest. They had arrested those individuals based on credible information that has been made available to them. And more revelations are still coming as to the identity of some of the participants in this terrorism that has been unleashed on innocent people.
Quickly, Mr. Daliop, you know, the governor has said it does not look like this is the last of such attacks. Will there ever be peace on the Plateau?
Well, Plateau said that experienced relative peace, but of course we must understand that here on the Plateau, once rainy season set in, when farmers will begin to prepare to commence agriculture or farming activities, the headers will always come with an attack. And whenever harvest season has also set in, they will also come with an attack. And then, of course, whenever festivity period like Christmas and New Year period set in, they will always come on an attack. And that is how it has been on the Plateau. So it has been like a recycling, you know, it has been, you know, a recurring decimal on the Plateau. And so it is not a surprise to us seeing them perpetrating this dastardly act now.
All right, Mr. Daliop.
It has always been
ultimately, we hope and pray that peace returns on the Plateau. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us. Legal practitioner, national president, Biram Youth Mothers Association, Solomon Daliop. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. I'll see you again tomorrow.